Welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna be reacting to how scary Islam Makhachev is, the scary reality of facing Islam Makhachev. Uh, let's start it.
I had a nightmare that I had to fight him.
If there's anyone that could possibly
Sean?
beat Khabib or put up a great match or catch him or something, we always felt it was going to be Islam. And so now Islam's got his chance to go out there and prove exactly why.
Look at them, they were so young. Oh my god, look, they are probably like 16, 17 years old. They look like a baby.
You're quoted to say that Islam Makhachev is the most complete fighter ever.
Islam Makhachev is one of the most dominant champions in the history of mixed martial arts. Why? Because there are levels in this brutal and tough game.
Like I always say to my guys, like everybody, there is levels. There is fighters, there is champion, there is elite. And I think Islam is elite. This is what I think. This is
Definitely
what I
Islam
feel when
is
I trained
elite.
with him long time.
Makhachev's level is simply unreachable. Islam is a true wild beast who goes hunting every time he's locked in the cage with another victim. It's time to dive into the terrifying and hopeless reality that every opponent of Islam inevitably finds themselves in.
Let's get into
this
it.
guy keep doing
and
winning. Right now, this is his time to shine, you know.
When the great Khabib Nurmagomedov shockingly retired due to the tragic and sad
Yeah,
death of
he
his father,
randomly,
the most competitive
out of
division
nowhere,
in the
like,
world
retired.
of mixed martial arts was left without a champion. In place of Khabib stood two of the highest-ranked fighters, and the world learned a new name as the champion, Charles Du Bronx Oliveira.
oh my god, Charles' reign was insane. We watched some of the fun fights in UFC, like him against Chandler, him against Justin. Imagine it was just one round, but it was one of the most funnest round. I don't know, the most fun I ever had watching a UFC fight. Against Chandler.
But that's terrible. Some forward motion here under 2 minutes to go in the round. There's that left hand. He's in real trouble. Oliveira in the world of trouble early.
I'm sorry.
In round one. A standing ovation for the athletes here in Houston as round two gets underway. Chandler working off of that jab early.
Ew. That hook was amazing. Let's go.
Willing to do anything it took to fight
Oh my
anybody,
god,
and just all these things.
I forgot how Dana was like this big. No, he decreased. I mean, he lost his weight. He looked amazing. He looked huge here.
Played out for this fight to happen tonight here in Houston, and it was an awesome main event.
Charles is an incredible and entertaining
Yeah,
champion. He destroyed all the
was
current
amazing.
legends of his weight class, and no one could stand up to his skills. Not Michael Chandler, not Justin Gaethje, and not Dustin Poirier. Meanwhile, Father's plan was quietly and steadily coming to life. Islam dominantly finished his fights, winning all the prospects and contenders by stoppage.
Now Dan Hooker has fantastic knees up the middle. So for Makhachev to change levels and try to get the Hooker, he has to be very patient, very careful, because Dan, for as fantastic a striker as he is, can really pick you apart with those knees.
Good boxing. Oh, there it is.
Beautiful little hook, right into the double leg takedown. Now he's got Dan Hooker on his back.
He's getting close.
Yeah, he's starting to attack that now.
Now he's inside control.
yeah,
That's the
Dan's in
problem.
Dan's in trouble. Dan's in trouble.
I mean, Dan Hooker came as
All the hook.
I think in 2 weeks or a week notice.
Dan's got his hands locked. Oh, it's in trouble.
Islam would have won regardless.
Islam Makhachev
Wow.
submits Dan Hooker in round one.
And Islam went, put him on his back, submitted him in the first round, and once again shows why he is nothing to be played with.
He was on the brink of a title fight, if not for Dana White's whims and the unexpected emergence of Bobby Green, who became the final test for Makhachev's championship ambitions.
Sir, let's go. Let's go. Let's bring that shit. Bring that shit. Bring that shit.
Not ready.
That's what we do. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. All right, John. I'm not going nowhere. Thank you. 5 rounds. Let's go.
You're not ready.
Islam couldn't forgive such audacity, but Bobby just didn't understand what kind of overwhelming force he would have to face in the cage. Islam beat his opponent and finished the fight in the first round. The performance was confidently considered a strong statement for being the top contender for the championship belt.
Charles is very good, you know, he have good win streak.
People saying, like, I remember people saying, like, Islam didn't fought a good matchup. Yeah, he didn't, but it was because it wasn't his fault. Like, he was calling out everybody, but nobody wanted to take his fight, so it wasn't his fault that he didn't fight a good matchup against, like, until the title. But, like, the good thing about it is he made it, like, inevitable. Like, he made him inevitable, like, to get a title shot, and it wasn't me.
Opponents, but you know, for me this is embarrassing when UFC lightweight champion asks someone like Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor who win like 5 years ago. Nobody remember when these guys both, like, or Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor win some fight. He tried to call Diaz McGregor, but he forget my name.
The silence among the matchmakers was broken. When all other options were ruled out, the organization was ready to discover the true champion of the lightweight division. Many fans and experts doubted whether Islam truly deserved a title shot. There was no fighter from the top 5 in his winning streak.
But it wasn't his fault,
the highest
you know
ranked
what I mean?
fighter, Makhachev, was in 6th place. But in his last 4 fights, the Russian finished all of them early, and nearly all of his victories were dominant. Given that the UFC had no other alternatives, Makhachev remained the most logical choice.
People finish him 7 times, but the UFC, some guys finish him 7 times. And this guy champion in my division. I'm very upset because of it.
Despite the fact that Charles had made a name for himself and completely cleaned out the division, experts considered him a slight underdog.
Champion, dominant champion, submitting everybody, underdog. That's how good Islam is.
Both fighters entered the bout on impressive winning streaks. 10 successful fights for Makhachev and 1 for Charles. For the first time in UFC history, 2 fighters with winning streaks of 10 or more victories were facing off. In fight week, both Charles and Islam were full of confidence. Makhachev was certain that the Brazilian's jiu-jitsu would have nothing to oppose his wrestling skills. While
They
Oliveira
have
promised to
this thing, what they call, if sambo was easy, is called jiu-jitsu. I seen him on Khabib's t-shirt, I think.
Finish his opponent in the first round. The 2 men had a very intense stare down, locking eyes and even touching noses. There was no doubt that the fight would
Charles Oliveira, like, he doesn't lose a stare down. He was good.
Always want to magnify, doesn't speak English. Nobody understands you.
Why didn't this fight happen? This fight never it was not meant to happen in Brazil. You guys are just bullshitting all the time.
Let's go. I put the Instagram pictures first day when you asked the Brazil. I put the pictures in Instagram. Let's go. I want to do this in Brazil.
Oliveira started the
It
fight
would have
with
been
a
amazing
wide
if
high
Islam
kick.
if Islam beats Oliveira in Brazil. It would have been more. But I don't know why he wasn't made in Brazil. They had to fight in Abu Dhabi.
Missed the target. Islam managed to land a right hook, but soon Charles took his opponent to the canvas, attempting to lock him in a triangle choke. Makhachev escaped and began throwing strikes from guard. The Brazilian managed to get back up, but the fighters were only on their feet
Oliveira was
for a few
not good.
seconds,
He was doing
just
decent.
long enough for Makhachev to throw Charles with a hip toss. The Russian was back on top, but Oliveira held him close, making it harder for Makhachev to land punches. Islam kept landing strikes, including elbows, but Oliveira survived. However, towards the end of the round, he nearly caught the Russian in an armbar. Despite Charles's efforts, the judges would give the round to Makhachev due to his control on the ground. The second 5-minute round began standing. The fighters exchanged precise shots and then moved into a clinch by the cage. Makhachev tried to throw the Brazilian, but Oliveira defended brilliantly and managed to maintain the fight standing. However, on the feet, Oliveira didn't look any better, as he was taking significantly more hits. 2 minutes before the final bell, Makhachev did something even his most loyal fans hadn't expected. Oliveira went down from a knockdown. Islam pounced on the Brazilian, wrapped his neck, and instantly
Oliveira's problem was he's still he takes too many damage. If he managed to sleep the shot, he's one of the most dangerous lightweights in the world.
Submitted him with a mounted triangle choke. It turned out that choking out the best jiu-jitsu practitioner was much easier than anticipated.
Charles is at such an elite level. Islam beats him so soundly that now you're like, I don't even know if it makes sense for Charles to fight him again.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's how good he is.
Yeah. What I think of the main event?
Yeah, the finish.
Incredible. I mean, I've been saying all week, you got two of the absolute best in the world in their prime facing off, and you know, when I went up into the octagon after, Habib said, I told you he's the best in the world. And yeah, I mean, to beat Oliveira is one thing, to beat him the way he beat him is another, and as fast as he did it, he looked incredible tonight. You know, the big question.
Well, thanks for staying. This is part 1 of how scary Islam Makhachev is. I hope you enjoy, and part 2 will be released.